guys, a lot of you have been direct messaging me about problems that you have been having when you are applying makeup on your clients. And a couple questions that have come up are about how to prep skin for makeup and some of the concerns and some of the problems that you guys are having when you are applying makeup to specific skin types. So I'm going to do a couple videos for you. These videos I think will be a little bit shorter, and we're just going to talk about skin prep before makeup. This video will be about skin prep for oily skin, and this is not to be confused with skin prep for combination skin, because I'm going to do another video about that. When I talk about oily skin, I am talking about someone that is shiny from the T-zone all the way to the side of the face. So we are talking here about someone with oil that sits on the top of their face, all around their face, not just in the T-zone. So that is an important thing to note. Even if you are not a makeup artist and you are watching, you will pick up some tips on how to do your own makeup so that it looks great, you can keep your skin matte, and it lasts throughout the day. So there are a lot of things that can happen when you are doing makeup on someone that has oily skin, or if you are someone that is watching and has oily skin, there are a lot of things that can happen when you start the process of applying your makeup. Sometimes you put all of your stuff on, your skincare, your foundation, and when you are applying concealer or something else, the makeup can move off the face, and then you're left with kind of a smudge on your nose or under your eye. You may be working on a face or working on your own makeup, and you start to apply your makeup, you powder, and then you turn away for 2 seconds and you look back, and the person you're working on or your own skin is really shiny on top, and it's kind of starting to eat through the makeup. You may also find that makeup doesn't last throughout the day. If you have a long shoot or if you're doing a bride, you may notice that the oil on the face just takes over and starts to kind of eat away the makeup. So those are just a few of the things that can happen. What I'm going to talk about in this video are kind of my suggestions for how I deal with oily skin when I'm working on it. Now, I will have a couple product recommendations. What I'm doing may not work for everybody, so I'm going to give you a couple options and list a couple different products in the description box below of things that work for me when I'm working with oily skin. So when I start prepping an oily skin for makeup, the first thing I like to do is remove any of the surface oils that are already on top of the skin. So I'll take a cotton pad and something like the BIODERMA micellar solution, and I'll use that to remove any surface oils. So you want to make sure you start with a clean canvas. Packing on more moisturizer or product on top of pre-existing oil on the skin of the face is not going to work for you. Your makeup is not going to stay on, it's not going to apply properly. So make sure you do that as your first step. Also, you may want to remove any oil that you see on the eyelids to make sure that when you put your eye makeup on, that goes on smoothly as well. Some people forget about the eyelids, so that's a really important part to remember when you're removing the surface oil at the beginning of your makeup application. The other thing that you might want to keep in mind is that you are going to run into clients that are on medication for their skin. So they may have had acne, or they may be using a topical solution to treat a skin problem. Sometimes this will leave them with really oily skin. I used to see this a lot when I had clients that were using Proactive. They would have really smooth skin, but it would be very, very oily. So if they are using something topical on their skin, please keep that in mind. You want to make sure that once you start applying foundation, it's a foundation that is highly pigmented so that the topical solution they're using for their treatment doesn't change the color of the foundation, because it will turn some foundations a bit orange and it'll kind of adjust and alter the color of your foundation. Sorry guys, that was Archie coughing. I don't know if you can hear that in the last little bit, but he might be joining us shortly, so we'll see. So now that you have cleaned off the surface oils of the skin, the next thing you want to do is do a quick survey, take a look at the skin. You might have people with very oily skin that have dry skin around their brows or on the cheeks. If there are patches of the skin that look to be dry, even though they're oily, or look to be dehydrated, you may want to take a really light fluid moisturizer, and I'll list a couple for you in the comments below, and you can apply that to the areas of the face that are looking a little bit drier or dehydrated. A lot of the times an oilier skin may not need a moisturizer over the whole entire face, so keep that in mind. Experiment with using a moisturizer and not using a moisturizer to see what works better for you. Guys, I'm sorry if this video is noisy. My cat is right here. There is construction going on outside. It was quiet all morning, and now I try to film and it's a crazy town. If you are a viewer that watches my videos and you read the comments below, you guys will notice that I am actually not a huge fan of using primer when I do makeup, especially on oily skin. Usually when I'm working on an oily skin, I like to put a product underneath the makeup that offers a good form of oil control, and a lot of the primers don't do enough of that for me. The primers also create this barrier between the skin and the makeup, makeup. That's what gives you that smoothing effect. But I find when you have that barrier and the oil on the skin starts to build up under the primer, the makeup kind of starts to slip around. So a lot of the times if you touch your face or go to touch up, the makeup kind of moves across the face and leaves you with this gross kind of blotchy makeup application. So you definitely don't want that. And that's why normally I like to skip a primer when I'm working on oily skin. Once you have removed the oil from the surface of the skin and you have dealt with some of the areas of the face that look to be flaky or a little bit drier, you can do one of two things as your next step. You can moisturize the entire face with a light hydrating product that is made to control oil, or you can use a specific product for mattifying. So this would be a mattifying gel or a mattifying spray. In case you didn't believe me, Archie is right here, and I'm sure you guys are going to be hearing him purr throughout the rest of this, but we're stuck with him for the rest of this video because if I kick him off my lap right now, he's going to start screaming, which is way worse than purring, I think. So sorry about it, but we're stuck with him. Two of the products that I love to use on oily skin are the Face Atelier Ultra Matte and the MAC Matte Gel. So these are my two favorite products to prep oily skin. With the MAC Matte Gel, you can just apply the gel all over the skin or in the T-zone if you're dealing with combination skin, and it creates a great surface for you to put your makeup on, and it doesn't cause the makeup to move or slip around when you're applying it. With the Face Atelier Ultra Matte, this is a product you can mist onto the face before, during, and after application. So it keeps the skin matte, but it also creates this smoothing effect on the skin. So it will fill in some of the larger pores and control the oil as well. And it works really, really well. So basically you're going to use this as a primer. I use this product on myself as well. So it's an awesome thing to add to your kit if you're looking for a product that works really, really well on oily skin. For me personally, when I use this on myself, I find that one mist on my face before I apply my foundation after my moisturizer is more than enough oil control for the entire day for me. So check this product out, experiment with it, and see what works for you. So now that your skin is prepped and you've got some sort of product on the skin for oil control, you can move on to the foundation. The only thing I'm going to say about this is to use something that is not made for dry skin. These foundations are going to be a little bit richer, a little bit heavier, and produce more oil. So find a foundation that is not specifically for dry skin. And as I mentioned, sometimes with the oily skin, they may be on medication. So make sure you're using something with really great pigment so the color doesn't change throughout the day as the oil builds up on the surface of the skin. Once your foundation is on, you're going to want to set the foundation with a powder. An oil absorbing powder for those people that are really, really oily is the only thing that is going to do the trick. The product I've been using for years and the one that works for me the best is MAC Blot Powder. Cover FX also has a great oil absorbing powder as well. So I will list some of my favorite oil absorbing setting powders in the comments box below. You also may find that when the skin is prepped properly, the type of powder that you're using to set the foundation may not matter as much, but you will find that you may still need some sort of oil control setting powder for specific clients. Sometimes their skin will just be too oily, so you definitely need that extra defense for anti-shine when you are setting the makeup. The last step that I like to do is to make sure my makeup is sealed. You guys know I love the Urban Decay DESLICK setting spray. It's one of the best products. It keeps the skin looking nice and matte. You might want to try setting your makeup with the Face Atelier, the Ultra Matte, that might help as well. So experiment with products like that, setting sprays that work for oil control. It will help your makeup last throughout the day and you won't have to touch up as much. If you are working on men with oily skin, all of this is going to apply to men as well. With men though, a quick reminder, do not forget about the head and the hairline, especially if they have a receding hairline. You want to make sure that any of the mattifying products that you're using on the skin are applied on the head if it's bald and into the hairline if their hairline is receding or a little bit further back. Even if they have a bald spot on the back of the head, especially if you're shooting something on camera, you want to make sure your mattifying product is on there as well because you don't want any light reflecting off the top, especially since the rest of their face is going to be matte. The MAC mattifying gel that I mentioned, the Face Atelier Ultra Matte, those will work on men. The other product that I love on men is the KIEHLS Oil Eliminator. This is not the original packaging. I depotted it, but I will definitely link to it so you guys can check that out. As I mentioned before, it's nice to have products that are specifically for men if you're working with them, just something special to have in your kit. And this one does really work well to control oil on the face. The other tip that I have, if you're on set, if you're doing makeup for a bride, when you are touching them up or you need to blot some of the shine, try not to use more product. Sometimes this is not the answer. A lot of product throughout the day over an oily skin is really bad news. The makeup can get really cakey and really gross. One of my favorite products to use to touch up throughout the day is actually this blotting sponge from Beauty Blender. I find it works amazingly well. I use it for myself and I use it on set. You can take the sponge and just absorb the surface oil without applying more product, so your makeup can kind of stay intact throughout the day. So make sure you have this in your arsenal if you have oily skin yourself, or if you are a makeup artist, it's a great thing to add to your kit. Those are all of my recommendations for oily skin. Thanks for hanging in there with all of the noise and the purring and the meowing and the construction. Hopefully it wasn't too loud on this video for you guys. I will list all of the products that I've mentioned in this video in the comments box below. You can try those products, or if you have similar products, use what you have and experiment with maybe skipping the primer for oily skin, trying a setting spray. You can use a combination of any of the techniques that I've talked about today to help control oil on the face. Every person with oily skin, every client is different, so just have these things in your mind when you're working with clients with oily skin. You might have to experiment and see kind of what formula of products works for you, but give it a try. If you guys have any more questions for me about what was in this video or other makeup related questions, you know you can leave them in the comments box below. Or if you have a video that you want to request, don't hesitate, let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. And of course, I will put all of my social media links below. Hope you guys had fun watching, and I will see you on the next one.